Okay, kids, here's one. Oh, by the way, Louisiana Beer Reviews with your host, Jake Terrio, co-host, David. We are looking at one that we said we were going to do, and prior we've been talking about doing the Pabst Blue Ribbon because the both of us think it's a really good beer.
For like 2 years we've been talking
Yep.
about it.
And this is in the 24-ounce can, so it looks like we're both getting a beer piece out of it, which is going to be really good. This is brewed by contract to Miller's Coors.
Miller Coors does it, yeah. But they're in a lawsuit right now, so I don't know what's going to happen.
I doubt this brand's going to go away. It's too popular.
Oh, it won't go away. It just...
All right, so we're going to drink the Pilsner out of the giant Pilsner glasses that I have. We have the old strong pour.
came out in
Release all the
1844.
gases.
Came out in 1844. Was called Jacob's Best Lager. And then...
And yeah, if I'm not mistaken,
Pabst.
some of the old Pabst memorabilia is going to have the B on the blue flag, which is best.
Jacob Best.
Right, which is the best beer company. That's what it was at one time.
And they're bringing back a beer soon called Pabst Red, White, and Blue Beer.
Did see that. Now, what's the difference between that and the obvious Blue Ribbon, which is a red, white, and blue package?
Just some variant of it. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. It's kind of like a budget beer. But Pabst is a budget beer. It's like a budget beer of Pabst. Kind of like Old Milwaukee.
Budget beer of a budget beer.
Like Old Milwaukee Tischlitz.
Which we called Old Milk Duds when we were younger. Don't know why, but we did.
Yeah, Old Milwaukee Tischlitz. Now there was talk about bringing back Ondecker, which was Pabst's version of Michelob, like a above premium beer. Haven't seen it.
Well, Lowenbrow. Remember Lowenbrow?
Yeah, I bought that in New York City about 6 years ago. I haven't since seen it.
Yeah, that was a front runner against Michelob. If I'm not mistaken, the Miller Company was putting that out.
Yeah, and they had Michelob. They had Lowenbrow Dark. But it's been 20 years. This is a throwback label on the back, talking about the blue ribbon, and then they give you. They've won awards over the years, not just in 1893. You know, their websites are down right now. I tried to check the Pabst website, and it says closed for spring cleaning. Well, spring is over, so I don't know what's going on with this company. Everything is down. It's about 4.74% alcohol.
It's about 4.74%. That's pretty precise when you go in 2 digits on the other side of the point.
Yeah. See what happens when you wake up at 2:45 in the morning? It is exactly 4.74. Sorry.
Yeah.
I don't mind people checking me if I'm
I just want my head to dissipate a little bit more. I got a lot of big bubbles in the head. So I'm gonna let it dissipate another minute.
It's darker than most.
It is darker than most along this style, but I'm looking at this one as being kind of light right now, and I don't know if that's because of the lighting inside of this room.
It just seems darker, but I mean not profoundly so, but it does seem darker.
Sometimes the beer has a tendency to change a little bit in these larger containers when you get them.
And they claim, or they say they use this special Carlsberger yeast, which is supposed to give it a wine quality.
I've always known it to have a tasty, like toasted note to it.
I took a sip because I was really thirsty.
Yeah. It's Pabst. I don't taste any wine about it. Tastes like Pabst.
It was saying a slightly winey quality.
In which way?
I used to think it tasted like a little strange back in 1996, 97 when I first started drinking it. I couldn't put my finger on it, but it had more of a... I just couldn't... It was like not as clean as the other beers. It's kind of like I call it like a dirty beer. I don't mean that in a bad way. But then I read that 1980 article in National Geographic magazine where the brewmaster took the author on a tour, and he was saying, oh, well, we use this Carlsberger yeast and it gives it a slightly wine-like note, and I was thinking, yeah, that does. It's almost like the grape skins of like the Moscato grape or some kind of white grape. I don't know.
So you're saying it's a red wine.
More like a white wine to me. No, it's not profound.
I think if you search for it, I can get just about any flavor out of this beer. So with that said, I'm not really getting any kind of a wine thing out of it. It tastes like a beer. Coming out of this big can, it tastes a little different than what comes out of the bottle. I don't know why. I don't know if it's just the airflow. I know Coca-Cola, the older folk used to stand strong and true to the 6.5 ounce bottle, and they would go buy it and they'd say it tastes so much different than other Cokes. And a lot of that has to do with the airflow and the air mixture when you're drinking it and the shape of the bottle. I wonder if that's what's happening from this big can opposed to the shape of a long neck when we pour it out of a long neck.
We'll have to revisit it in a long neck.
So it's still Pabst. I taste Pabst, but to me that toasted grain note that I used to taste is kind of low.
I'm getting it, and I'm getting more a hop note.
A little hop,
Northwest.
weak hop.
I mean, the IBUs are probably around 12 or 13. It's probably 1 out of 5 hop cones on the Cyclops scale. The sweetness,
It's almost like if there was a Pabst Blue Ribbon Light, this tastes like a light beer.
there is, but try finding it. Lafayette, I'll see it in Lafayette sometime.
The one thing I don't like about some of those main labeled light beers is they start tasting kind of session-y. You know, where it's like an over bread effect takes over, where it's kind of like spongy going down, not really like flowing like a regular beer would. Seltzer.
Like seltzer water, mineral water.
Yeah, where you drink it and it's still there, and it's not really going down, and it's causing your salivatory glands going to overdrive, which really isn't doing anything, but causing like all these.
But look how many
Feels
people
like
drink.
bubbles.
Look how many people drink light beer like continuously.
They love it.
Continuously.
They love it. Yeah, to them it's water, and they drink it and 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 drink it all day long.
Medium bodied,
It's light to medium on me.
light to medium maybe. Little hop action, like a little white bread crust, yeast, a little yeasty thing.
White bread, yeah, not biscuit like sometimes you get. But
You know, like
white
if you
bread.
bought Wonder Bread and you could taste the crust on it.
Slightly, you're always saying bread crust.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of a common bread, or wholesome. Nice little glass lacing.
It definitely is different than your Miller Coors, but
I know, and I think it's the yeast strain because you know they all have these proprietary yeast strains.
Yeah.
And Pabst is saying, brew our beer for us here, but you can't look at the yeast. Well, you know what I mean, like it's like under.
well, they got someone
lock
else
and
doing
key.
the beer, and they're not really having say so what's coming out. It's just
They're giving them the
putting
ingredients.
a label, right?
Well, Pabst, if you look at the website, well, you can't right now, but they will have this thing on there about our beer is brewed under our supervision. We have our own team that goes in and makes sure Miller Coors are doing it right, blah, blah, blah. But
Sure.
I mean, then maybe they do, but I mean, how hard is it for a company like Miller to say, here's a recipe, do it? You know they can do it if you give them the recipe, right? And Pabst has this new coffee stout that came out, but that's going to probably be only sold in Milwaukee. Coffee stout.
Why are they doing coffee stout? I think at Pabst I always think of something like pills
They-
like this.
They started this little mini brewery in Milwaukee, this boutique brewery where their own people are doing stuff. So they came out with the Old Tankard over there and the Pabst American Pale Ale.
I did like Old Tankard. I thought it was an excellent beer.
Yeah, and now they got this coffee stout, and they said they're going to try to do their own little craft beer thing. Now, they didn't have a lot of success with the specialty ones so far, so that may not really catch on. I liked Old Tankard too. I loved it. That was an old brand nickel.
Especially when we were getting $2 for 4 cans.
Yeah,
That was great.
that was a good deal. How would you rate this one?
How would I rate the beer that I'm drinking now?
Yeah.
I'd give it a B.
A B. Good.
Yes, because I don't like the way it's tasting coming out of this can. It tastes different coming out of a bottle.
That last little bit, it's got that classic beer taste though. I'm thinking of
Yeah.
like bar crabs, you know. Best by July 23rd, so
I think sometimes,
still in the date.
also when a beer is packaged in a can, it ages different than packed in glass. Beers to me taste better coming out of glass than they do out of can.
And if you go to Loggers or Henry's Bar down on Magazine and you drink Pabst Draft, it's going to be different than this.
It's right. Yeah. I had the same experience today with Coors Light. I drank Coors Light coming from a tap, and the Coors Light coming from the can tasted richer than the Coors Light coming out of the tap. So the Coors Light coming from the can almost tasted like Banquet. And I've had the same instance going with Coors Light out of keg. Coors Light sometimes tastes like Coors Light, sometimes it tastes like Banquet. But it's not full-blown Banquet. It's like it's got all the qualities that make Banquet what it is in Coors Light. And in Coors Light, you don't have that. It's almost like they're two different beers. Kind of like Bud Light and Budweiser, two different beers.
And then, so you say if you did, like you're talking about Coors Light, you did, here's a bottle, brown bottle, here's a can, and here's draft. It's going to be three different
I
experiences.
think you can have three different experiences. Like I said, I experienced two different Coors Lights today. I looked at the can, it expired on mid-August, so it was fresh. It was ice cold, the mountains were blue on it, and then the keg beer's been sitting about 2 months in a keg.
Yeah, you really want those fresh.
That's fresh enough.
Think?
It's in a controlled environment. It stays cold all the time. It never gets hot. It's cleaned all the time, so every time it's tapped, it gets cleaned.
So you'd be interested in going somewhere and doing an on-site draft review of Pabst?
Sure.
Okay.
Where there's draft, and they'll allow us to do can and bottle.
Oh, I don't know if that would be possible. Well,
You just gotta find someone that has cooperation in a bar. What you
gonna-
probably have to do is pay them, but you could do that.
they get really paranoid when I bring a camera to a bar. They get like,
Yeah. Well, most bars around here have cameras in them.
I'm gonna give it A minus. I really like it, but
I'm gonna give it a B. I'm just gonna give it a solid B because again, this is not the Pabst that I'm used to drinking. I can taste it tastes like Pabst, but it's a little on the weak side.
what do we always say? Call it as you see it.
And it could be the package. The package does taste flavor. It does change it a bit.
All right, so well, we did it finally. Pabst Blue Ribbon, and then we're gonna do the bottle and the draft at some point. And we're gonna end this review by saying, y'all come on down to Jefferson Parish, Louisiana.
And we are kind of biased towards Pabst. We like Pabst, and we want Pabst to be good.
Yeah,
Not just good. We want it to be really good.
and that's usually been my experience.
And we'll end this review.